So were you able to practice?
One time. I started work again, so
Sure.
it's been kind of busy schedule.
Yeah.
Getting back into everything. But I did it one time. We still had a little bit of an issue where after doing the step aways, getting her to stay, she still wanted to come.
Sure. With the recall stuff, we were doing we did the side steps, and last week, yeah, we did the recall to the side steps.
I did the side steps.
Yep.
Side steps were fine. She follows me everywhere. But then after the side steps, getting her to not follow anymore, stay in that position.
Sure.
Well, after I told her to stay, a couple times she'll pick up her butt and try to walk to me.
Gotcha.
But it was the one time that we had to practice.
Okay. Anything else?
No. No other issues.
Okay. What we'll do is I'll have you show me how you've been practicing.
Okay.
And then we'll work on correcting that, see if we can get that a bit more cleared up for her.
Okay.
It's completely normal. It's just part of the process. And like you said, you only had one time to practice with
Yeah.
it. But this way we can see if you're doing anything correctly.
Okay.
And then from there, is there anything particular you want to cover?
Really what I want to progress into is getting into the off leash.
Okay.
Where we don't need the leash anymore. So I know we had started out with the loose leash.
Yep.
Progression. So I'm probably going to continue the classes.
Okay.
To get eventually into off leash.
Okay.
I think she's going to be right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like she's doing really good.
Yeah.
And personality-wise, like right now, like I remember the first time you brought her, she was anxious and she was whining and she was all over the place. And that was just because she didn't know what to do, no structure. And now she's much more passive.
Yeah, like from the first day, from before starting the classes, like she would have been trying to go after the other dog, like just to go play.
To go play.
Yeah, to go play.
Sure.
She wants to play all the time.
Okay.
But since then.
So what we'll do is we'll go over the recall and the stay stuff. I brought a placemat with us. So there's technically two more commands. There's the down and the place command. They're really similar, but this can also help you with just more getting her to understand being stationary for a bit.
Okay.
Because you're doing temporary stationary right now, right? So it's like stay, you walk away, maybe you call her, or maybe you come back, right? With this, it's hey, go there and don't move for like 2 hours. Okay. So this will help with the stay because now it's like it's not always her. It's not always temporary. Sometimes it might be for a bit. Okay. So kind of help clear things up a bit.
Okay.
And then when you're ready, you can schedule with Maria. Okay. And then once we get the other thing, the down command in, then it's just practicing everything, moving to off leash. Okay.
How soon would you recommend we get into it? Because we have a renovation in our house that we're going to be starting at the end of this month.
Okay.
So that's probably going to be about 2-3 weeks.
Sure.
So I was thinking maybe mid-July starting, continuing with the rest of the off-leash training.
Sure. So as long as you're practicing everything, you could do whatever. You could start it, take 2 to 3 weeks off. You still practice when you can, and then pick up. With the rest of the program, you can wait till July, and then just do the second half there. With this approach to training, like it gives a lot of wiggle room there. I know with other places it's like you have to be very like straight through, not with this. Like I get people that, something happens and they can't train for like a year, and then they'll come back, and then within 15 minutes, everything that they learned comes back. Yeah. So that I'm not worried about. Whatever would work for you. But we'll cover this, and then during the time, this will help just give you another thing to work on as well. Okay? Okay. Anything else? All right, so let's go ahead. We'll pop her in the long leash.
Do I need to leave the short leash on?
No, you can remove it. What's your number now?
20.
Okay.
Got mistake. Mistake.
So here, what's the number?
25.
So don't grab her leash. Go to 30. And tap and walk this way. Tap, tap, about right there. Tap, tap, tap. Now grab your leash. Tap, tap. A little bit of pressure pulling towards you. Tap, 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 tap. And drop leash and just step away. Good. Tap, walk towards, tap, tap, hold right there. Good. Back away. Tap forward, tap, 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 go to pick up leash, tap, 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 light pressure, tap, 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 tap. Good. No. 35. Hold right there. Good. Going to come in a little bit. You see her flinching there?
Yeah.
Going to come in a bit more, like halfway. Good. And start to come around a bit. Good. Going to walk to her side. Praise. Go ahead and go into a heel. Tap. Go ahead and pivot back. Tap, 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 tap. Good. You're at 35?
Yeah.
Let's go to 40. Keep walking. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Pivot again. Tap. 45. Tap. 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 Slow to stop. Okay. So you see how there's a gap there?
Yeah.
Go ahead and pivot back again. Tap. Tap. Good. Slower. Good. Pivot one more time. Tap. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Slow. Stop. Good. Stay. And you'll step out. Keep it there. Good. Circle around. Good. Back to her side. Praise. Back into a heel. Heel. Yep. Good. There we go. Good. Slow stop. Good. Stay. And hold right there. So, when you first started, do you see the difference from when you got here and then now?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Her attention was more on me.
Okay, what else?
She's closer.
Closer,
Yeah.
right? So you were at 20,
Yeah.
we bumped it up. So when we're doing the off leash, right? So most people's perception of off leash is the dog doesn't run away. Okay, like the dog will wander with them and won't run away. Off leash, in my opinion, is any command that the dog knows on leash, the dog will perform off leash. So heel is, boom, right there, right, tight. So if, in the beginning, when she was out like about 2 feet, what happens is as you're walking, like people think, oh, the dog's fine, and she's sniffing the ground, right? Because they care more about the dog having a good time. But in my book, this ends up becoming that. The dog takes off, right? Because one, she's already nose on the ground, and there's so much space that she's not even paying you any mind. Very easily becomes what's going on over here, okay? So when you give that cue, leash or no leash, close, okay? The tighter she is, the less likely she is to make a mistake, okay? So that was that part. So once you got to 45, she stopped going to the ground.
Yeah.
Then she was like, okay, what are you doing? And on that last turn you did there, she like ran to your leg. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
The moment she feels that, it's speed, okay? Speed means important, it means urgent, right? So if she's wanting to do something else and I tell her to do something instead, it should be, yes, that's more important. It should never be, but I really want to see what's going on over here, okay? Same with kids.
Yeah.
You know, if your kids are doing something like go do your chores, it's go do your chores, right? So that's that. The stay command. Now that we're doing this, what I had you do was instead of guiding or more so physically, it was putting the pressure on. Okay? What can happen sometimes is if we always grab the dog and lure or lead them with the leash, they'll respond to it, but it's not as consequential as just jumping to that. Okay, so at a certain point, I flip to that instead, right? So I go, if you want to avoid the remote completely, don't make a mistake, okay? So then you kicked in, like she moved a little bit, you started remoting, you left it, so typically dogs will default into like a heel, which leads them to follow you. It's not really a heel, they're just defaulting into it. General area, and I had to keep that pressure on until she put her butt down and I stepped away. Okay, so she's thinking, all right, if he puts me in this position, as long as I keep that butt down, nothing happens. But if I move, remote goes off. But then when I follow him and go back, it goes away again, right? And the only reason I had to use the leash was because she ended up sitting again, but she ended up sitting wrong spot, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been like going into a recall, then leading her back to make it easier. At that point, I go, since this is already on, now it's the leash. Okay, so instead of leash pressure, then remote pressure, I'm going remote pressure, and then if needed, leash pressure. Okay? So now, you put her in a little stay, you walk off 10, 15 feet, and you let her just sit there for a minute, right? I do this intentionally so that she can start registering. It's not always going to be momentary. Okay, so the other command that we covered today will help with this. But little things like this, like if you're working with your family or your kids or anything like that, having her sit right there away from you, stepping away, having a quick little conversation, and then going back and doing something else with her will help her start to stop assuming that it's her. Yeah. Okay? Questions? So we'll go back to her side. Let's try that 3 more times. How's he doing? Yep, tap. Good. Tap forward. Good. Tap forward, tap. Good. That's okay for now. We'll ignore that. Turn in, tap. That's okay. Now here, praise her, but then you're gonna step away again. Good. Then the heel. Yep, forward, tap, 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 keep forward, tap, 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 forward, tap, 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 tap. Make a pivot, tap, tap, forward, yep, tap, tap, tap. Yep. There she goes. Right there. Slow to stop real quick. Good. So, I think it was about the third class I started talking about dogs making mistakes. It's usually during the recall where you confuse them, they'll shoot off.
Okay.
This sucks, I'm gone. Okay? And so, it's normal. But that's why we do long leash stuff. That's why we do long leash stuff, right? Because I know at some point this is going to happen.
Okay.
So we work the dog through it. This is what creates reliability, right? Because if you've never seen that, and then one day she's off leash and something happens, or she's same mindset, deuces,
Yeah.
you're in trouble, right? So
Right.
what she's just learned is I can try to get away, but the pressure stays on and doesn't stop until I'm back here again. So you've eliminated that option, okay? So what happened? The reason why she did that is because she got put under too much pressure, and she decides, no, I'm done. Okay. So with my guys, even if that's maxed out, if I were to remote them on 100, 127, whatever, they're going to run straight back always. Okay. They're not going to think run away. They're going to think come back, right? And it might be the wrong thing. Maybe I want them to lay down, but I'd rather them make a mistake and come to me than make a mistake and go the opposite way. Okay. So when you work with her, like earlier when you were on 20, it wasn't enough, right? Because she was just like moseying around and all that stuff. We make it important enough, bump that number up, but now it becomes too much for her, so to say, that she decides, let me get away with this or see if I can. And they go, nope, not an option, okay? So it's the same stuff, like let's say when you work with her on your own, same concept. If you see that nose on the ground, it shouldn't be that way. It should be attentive like this, okay? From the get-go. And you'll start to recognize, if every time you practice with her, it starts with the nose on the ground, and then within 5 minutes, you have her in attention. You want her in attention from the beginning. Otherwise, she learns 5-minute window. I can play around with stuff before Dad gets serious, right? And it might be 45, it might be 35, but you'll learn to recognize that range, and you'll see it right away where it's like, oh yeah, you're still in your own world. Let me look at that number right away. So she thinks the moment you're out that door, it's business. Okay? So yeah, that's normal, but that's why I do this stuff. Okay? So we'll do a couple more. Yep. Tap forward, forward, forward. Tap. Pivot. Forward. Forward. Start to bring up a little bit of leash. Tap. Tap. There she goes. Good. Good. Praise. Girl. Yo. Good. What do you want, a card? Do we have them? Oh, in your backpack. Yeah. I was like, wait, my backpack. Yep, the pivot. There she is. Good. 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 Try to stay. come back to her side this time, I'm gonna have you come back to her left side, but you're gonna be facing this way. She's facing that way. Okay?
Okay.
Good. And you're gonna do a heel, and you'll just move straight forward. Heel. Okay, perfect. Try for one more. To your right, cap. Turn to your right, cap. Forward, cap. Cap, 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 cap. A little bit of leash pressure, cap. There she goes. Good. Atta girl. Good turn.
Stay.
Very good. So on a couple of those, if I thought it correctly, because you're doing the stays with the heels, that the dogs can sometimes get confused and they'll hold back when really she should be moving with you. So it's not clear between the stay and the heel, right? So if you see that being a consistent problem, I go back to the short leash, do stays, so the heel is going to be real immediate, and it makes it easier for her to fix in the beginning. Because she lags for so long. Because the other thing we did was we tapped to put her back in the stay position, right? So when you were moving and you were tapping, she was staying put. She's like, how much more am I supposed to sit? You know what I mean? That's why I was like putting a little bit of leash pressure to direct her. What I really liked is she found your leg again. Okay, so she was able to correct that problem from about 20 to 25 feet. Because it's much different if you're walking with her on a 6-foot leash and she goes just 6 feet away, that's real easy. But once she's off leash and she's at a greater distance, she's got to learn how to fix that problem, which seems easy for us, but for a dog it's very different. Okay? So all that was good. That's about what I would expect with what she knows.
This is new for me.
Well, I really haven't done heel with the long leash. It's been mostly with this. The only time we've been using really the long leash is when I do the recall of my son's homework.
Sure.
So I'm guessing that's where the confusion with her is.
Yeah, because for the dog, dogs are very visual. When you walk with Cali, your leash, right, your 6-foot leash here, she sees that. And that connects you to her, right? Now that we have this, that's kind of gone.
Yeah.
It's behind you, it's on the ground, so seemingly it's like you have nothing, right? So it can confuse a lot of dogs because like, well, typically heel, I see this thing here, but that's gone, so what are we doing now?
All right.
The foundation is there, the picture is different. So that's why I do stages from short leash to long leash dragging to no leash enclosed area to no leash unenclosed area. Okay? Because it's not just Cali but you learning how to use your tool to get her to perform when you have no contact. You know, like no ways of making it happen, right? So all that was good. Main thing for you is when Cali goes off, I try to keep the left side of my body facing the dog. So like let's say Cali went off 20 feet that way. If you keep trying to do this, it's going to be really hard for her because this is your right side, right? If you give her your left side for the heel, when she sees it, much easier to fix that problem, okay? As opposed to coming around and doing this, okay? You keep moving, so a lot of people will stall, right? But then you're stopping the picture. And you're wanting her to see you moving away, and she knows that's heel. But if you stop, then it's like, what am I supposed to do? Right? That's why we were very specific with things. So like with the recall, you'd be facing her like this, right, to get her to come back. And then for her, the heel would be you moving away. So she's able to recognize what to do in those different situations. Okay? Questions about that?
Even moving away, still having her on the left side, so it's easier for her to recognize the heel.
Correct. So if she was here and she makes a mistake and she runs off that way, all you need to do is pivot like this. Now she's back on your left side again. Okay. So it's always about there's no, how do you say, right or wrong in terms of how you move. Once she's gone, it's what's going to give her my left side. You know, so you can always pivot inwards, you can always pivot the other way. But as long as she sees that to her immediate side, it'll be easier for her. Okay. Other questions? Oh. So the stay got better, right? Less mistakes. We also adjusted the number a bit. But now, so when we have conflicting commands, we have stay and then we have walk with me, we create confusion. So that's why I try not to mix things up too much in the beginning until a dog masters each thing. So like stay and recall is its own thing. Stay and heel is its own thing. Once that's kind of mastered, then I can put stay, heel, and recall in one training session. Okay. If you find she's having a lot of trouble, take a step back, make things easier. Okay, work her again, build up to it. You can also incorporate food if you'd like to help clear things up a bit more. So like, let's say you had a little training pouch and she goes off and you remote her and she comes in, you would just feed that. She already knows what she's supposed to do, but now you're just adding in an additional reinforcer like, yes, that was exactly right. Okay. The reason why I do this stuff alone is it's easier for the owner to pick up, but once you get comfortable with how this stuff works, then we can add in the additional stuff if you want. Okay. The main one is really the recall. Is the only time I care about applying food because it's such an important command. Everything else is kind of up to the owner. Okay. Any other questions? So you have a good idea of how to like fix the stay stuff and all that?
Yeah.
It'd be the same thing, you know, when you work with your kids with the recall and all that. Is kicking with the pressure first, and if needed, leading her with a little bit of leash pressure, but you're wanting her ideally to fix the problem herself as much as possible. Okay. So I brought a placemat here. Bring this over, and we can go ahead and pop her back on the short leash here. All right. So there's like 3 groups of commands. One is like moving with you, the other is coming to you, and the other one is moving away from you or like being stationary for a bit. Okay. This one is going to be the moving away part, right? So place command is very simple. It's like the easiest thing to teach, and it's not as strict as the sit or down. So sit, very specific. Down, very specific. This, it's just go to the spot and don't get off of it. I don't care if you sit, stand, lay on your back. If there was another dog that could play within that space, you just cannot step off of it. Okay? So this is a stationary command, and like at the facility, we'll have dogs do this for like all day. In between the training and their playing, they'll be doing duration work, because it's like trying to get a kid to sit still. You know, like it's hard for them. You know, they want to do stuff. So for a dog, it's great mental exercise. Like if it's raining out or if it's too cold, you can't do a walk, you can do duration work, because then she's got to contain herself for a period of time. Okay, and it's just as exhausting. It's not physical, it's mental. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and dip down. Let's go down to 25 because we're teaching something new, and we're not gonna worry about the word right now. I'm gonna have you first start tapping. Some dogs will run to the spot on their own off the bat. If she doesn't, you're gonna keep tapping and you're gonna use a little bit of leash pressure, guiding her towards the placemat. As soon as all 4s are on the area, you stop the pressure. Okay? Questions? No. Go ahead. Tap, 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 right there. And good. And then you're gonna say break, and then move away with her. There you go. Okay. And then you're gonna bring her back, and you're gonna be bringing her back about yay close each time. tapping, yep. Tap, 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 right there. And a girl, and break, walk away. And don't worry about heel now. You're just gonna like, if she like wanders around, it's fine, and then bring her back.
Okay.
Very good. Pause right there. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Girl. Break. We'll try 2 more. Yep. A little pressure. Good. And you're at 25, right?
Yes.
Let's go to 33. One more time.
Break.
Good. Pause for a second. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Relax. Good. Hold right. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Want to take one more step away? Hold right there. Perfect. All right. Well, I'm glad you did that. That's exactly how we correct it. Right?
Okay.
So once we've given the cue, it's on until the release kicks in, break, or we give a new command, right? So you place her on, and I think it was more so because we raised the pressure that she started to opt to follow.
Okay.
So when you step away, what you're telling her is, if you step off, this automatically kicks in until you back on again. And what you'll see is, she'll try to step off, you'll tap her, and you could be 15 feet away, and she'll just correct herself like that, without you not even having to lead her back, okay? So we've just taught her the concept of turning off pressure when she places herself on top of this object, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're going to start tying in the word place. Place means go to this area, stay there until I release you, okay? And again, she can sit, stand, lay down, chew on a bone, all that stuff. She just cannot step off of the area, okay? As much as possible, and we'll increase the distance, we'll try it from about 5 feet here, is you'll say place and start remoting, and have Cali go there herself without you actively moving it, okay? So most people, when they teach this, they'll say place, and they'll walk the dog all the way to the area, and it becomes a part of the command. So then you always have to walk in here, right? And I want to teach the dog from the get-go, when I say this word, just go there, right? And you can send her from like your kitchen, from upstairs, from downstairs, from the living room, right, wherever the bed is at, and she'll learn to recognize you have to build to it, but that's what dogs are capable of doing. Most people, it's just like place and the dog will go right there, right? Not this person. So what we'll do is add in the word place, and you'll do it from about the distance you're at, getting Cali to do it herself as much as possible. If she looks too confused and you have to step in, you'll do step at a time, very slow. Okay, so you're trying to refrain from being a part of that scent. Okay? Whenever you're ready.
Break.
Good girl. Good.
Place.
Tap. 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 There you go. Tap. Try grabbing a little higher. So it's closer to her collar. There you go. Tap. Tap. There you go. Right there. Good. Good.
Girl. Break.
Yep. 4 more.
Place.
Yep. Yep. Right there. Good. Good. Tap. 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 Yep. Tap. Tap. A little bit more. Grab closer to the collar. There you go. Tap. tap,
Place.
tap, 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 and the way, you might have to bump it here. So what you're gonna do is light physical pressure,
Okay.
and then slowly go up on your collar. Yeah, keep that pressure constant. There you go. Tap, 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 bump. Tap, tap, tap. Bump it. Tap, 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 tap. Almost. Bump it. Yep, tap. Right there. And what's your number now?
45.
We'll go back down to 33. So do you know why that happened?
No.
It's resistance. So sometimes the dogs, most dogs learn when I go here, pressure goes away, right? Or if I don't go there, I can prevent the pressure maybe kicking in. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So that becomes resistance. So it's similar to like when she took off the other, just a few minutes ago, but now it's different. Now instead of it running away, it's I'm not going to do it, right? So I don't argue with the dog. I keep my pressure constant, right? So I don't try to like drag her there, and I just keep going up on the remote so that she decides, okay, this isn't working to my benefit. It's getting worse. What happens if I just get on that place again?
Okay.
It goes away, right? So by you going higher, she's learning resistance. She's not going to get away with it. We're going to override her. The power goes up. So then it makes her more compliant because now she knows the longer I fight this, the higher it goes. What if I just go when it's lower? Nothing. Okay? A couple more?
Great. Place.
Tap, tap, almost, tap, tap, there, good girl.
Good girl. That's
Two more.
break. Place.
Yep, tap, tap, a little pull forward, tap, tap, good girl.
Good girl.
Tap, 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 yep, almost, good girl. Good, one more.
Break. Place.
Tap, 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 good. Tap, tap. Good. What's the number now?
41.
So do you know why that happened?
She couldn't see it. She didn't see it?
Not
Okay. No, I have no idea.
So I think that one wasn't resistance to me.
Okay.
Because the other was very clear. Like she was laying
Like,
away
she didn't
from
wanna
the
have
bed,
it.
right? Here, like she wasn't phased, is the heat.
Okay.
Okay? So the heat, because this is real comfortable for us, right? For her, it can be hot. Like you can even see her like the way she's dancing and stuff.
Okay.
Is when the dog gets hot, the discomfort of like the body heat can override the collar,
Okay.
right? So like let's say her number is typically 35 and she's perfect, right? And you're working with her one day, and then all of a sudden 35 is just like not phasing her, and you might be as high as 85, and she'll feel it and she'll respond like 35, okay? Because of the heat, okay? So as soon as you went to 41, she didn't seem resistant to it. It was like, oh, okay, and she turned around. Because she has an idea of where it is, because it's not moved, right? So it wasn't so much that she couldn't see it.
Okay.
It's because of either the contact or the sun itself. So when you work with her, you might find during a walk, especially if it's a long hour walk, that your number goes higher. And in order to keep her in the right position because of that body. Okay?
Okay.
Questions? So I'm going to have you do the same thing, but now once you place her, you're going to hold for a second. You're not going to stay here. Okay? Stays in place. So place means go to this area and don't move. Same thing when we say sit and down. It means sit, don't move, down, don't move. Okay? We don't say stay. We only say it if she's already in position. So in your home, if you have a dog bed that you use, and she goes and lays down in her dog bed, and you didn't say anything, she can leave whenever she wants, right? But let's say you decide, oh crap, I need you to not move. Then you would say stay, right? Because she's in the area. Then it becomes the placement. Does that make sense? Okay. So you go in and release her, and then you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna say place. You'll wait a moment, and then you'll start to walk around her.
Place.
Good girl. And pause for a second. Good, and walk around. That's okay. But she's still in the area, right? Good. Still okay. Good. Hold there. Try coming around the other way. Good. Back to her side. You give the release.
Right.
And then, yeah, go back there. You're good. Excellent. I'll have you just walk with her. Don't worry about heel. Just circle around for a bit, come to a stop, and then send her again.
Place.
Yep. Yep. There you go. Good job. Good.
Good girl.
Tap, step in, tap, 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 tap. Good. Good girl. Tap, 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 tap. Correct. Very good. Good. All right, that's okay. Good. Woo.
Break.
Good girl. Let's try for 3 more. Ice cream. Yep, good move. Almost. Yep, a little leash pressure. There you go. Good. Almost. You might have accidentally hit the continuous.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit the.
I can always tell. might go down to like 33 again. She might be a little edgy because of the continuous hit.
Okay.
Right. Good. Let's see. Let's try this. The thing she's getting too hot.
Place.
Almost. There she goes. Good. Better. Yep. 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 There she goes. Good girl. And a girl.
Break.
Okay, we'll try one more. She's like, we're done. Good girl.
Place.
Yep. Good move. There you go. Very good. Pause right there.
Good girl.
Yeah. So that those last two guys were the easiest this whole time.
Yeah.
Right. So it should be place tap. She goes. Okay. But we've done 5 weeks of come to me and walk with me. Right. So now it's leave my side. Right. So again it's conflicting. So that's about what I would expect. Still pretty simple to teach. Okay. So now when it comes to application, there's two parts to this. One is the just go there, right? Trying to get that to be as easy as possible. The next part is go there and don't move for 30 minutes, 2 hours, an hour, whatever you decide. So everybody's life looks different. So I tell them, if you know you need your dog to move for an hour, then you want to practice an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay? If you know you need your dog to not move for like 4 hours, you want to practice like 5 to 6 hours. Okay? So you're going just a bit above what you would actually need. Okay? Because you also have to factor in, if you're using something like this command, it's most likely because this is going to be distracting. Right? If you have a family party, get together, everybody coming over, a lot more going on, right? So by kind of overcompensating with how much time you're doing, you're kind of prepping her for being there for a short amount of time, but with more stuff going on. Okay? So the way we go about this at the facility is we actually cheat this. Once we teach the dog to go there, we have columns, and we have a leash tethered around the column, and we'll send the dog, and we'll switch the leash to the tether, and we walk away. And the dog thinks, okay, I'm free, tries to step off, but now they're tethered, they can't get anywhere. So the only option is to go back onto the placemat, right? So they could be training a dog on the floor, and then they'll have the remote here, right? And then they see the dog getting up, and they'll correct. The dog goes back, and then they go back to training this dog, right? So it's super easy. And some of my clients, we stick in the home, I'll tell them, like, you have something, like the old school radiators, that are like big metal things, that if you have a really heavy table or a couch or something that she can't just drag across the floor, you can use that to your advantage. So I just take the dog bed, move it by whatever it is I would tether her to, and then clip it to her flat collar, and have her e-collar on, I just place the dog and walk away, right? So then, if she's laying down, I'm watching TV, and she starts to get up, I just tap the button, she gets off the bed, I just keep tapping, playing with it until she goes back on. I don't even have to get up on the couch. Okay? So, and you want to start, when we practice this, you don't have to do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. Right off the bat, if we want the dog to not move in 2 hours, we're doing 2 hours, day one. They're just going to make mistakes, it's all it. Yeah. So it just needs more remoting. But eventually, it's like, once we get through that, it's not a problem. So then, I typically recommend people do this as they go about their life. So if you're having dinner and you want to use plates there, you know, if you're watching TV, if you're doing yard work or something like that, have her tethered to something, place while you're doing a bunch of stuff. So she's getting used to, I'm going to be on this area and stuff's going to be happening and it has nothing to do with me. Okay, my job is just to stay here. Okay, and then when you're done, you come up to her, good girl, great, her job is done. Okay, questions about that so far? When it comes to increasing the distance, like today we kept it relatively short, 4 feet. Once it becomes very clear, place, home, and it's consistent, then I go step back, place, right? And from different angles. If you always do it from the same position, she'll learn it here, right? You can be 20 feet away here, but then you try to go over here, and it's a problem. Okay? So dogs don't really generalize that well. So when you're practicing, you're doing from different angles, and you can do it right off the bat, but you're just keeping the distance the same. Okay? So once you've mastered it at 4 feet from all these different angles, then I go to 5 feet. Okay? If you want to be able to send her from a greater distance, it's just more practice. Okay? And then that's where like the long leash kicks in as well. You do the same thing. So you blend in, place, feel, recall, place, and stay. And once she's mastered all those things, now you have this big routine from those 4 commands. Okay.
Should it always be the same, like if I use the doggy bed, should it always be on the doggy bed?
You can use whatever you want.
Okay.
You can use a towel. You can use a mat. You can use. I had someone use a yoga mat. Had someone use a really big T-shirt. Right. All you need is something that distinguishes. An area exactly. And I even had people like they had like really large area rugs, probably like 15 feet all around, right? They're like, can that be placed? And I was like, yeah. I was like, you just need perimeter. It's just a really big place, right? So the dog can walk around and all that stuff. Just gonna step off of the area, right? I've had people use an ottoman before, couch, a sectional. It doesn't matter. What does matter is recognizing the dog is on place and not chilling on the couch. Because that's a common thing that can happen with people is they forget that they placed the dog. And, because it's the dog laying on the couch isn't anything surprising, right? That they'll forget and the dog will hop off and they don't reinforce that it was actually a command. Okay, so just being aware of that. But yeah, anything, and then you can move it as well. It doesn't have to be in a consistent spot. If you always use like her doggy bed, right, like in the home, and let's say you take it with you when you go out to a friend's house or something like that, she will learn to recognize the doggy bed, and it can be in any place. So you can move it around, and she'll just recognize that that's the area. If you want to incorporate a second place in a different room, you absolutely can. You'll just have to teach her that this is also a place, right? So if you have one in the living room, and maybe you have one like in the bedroom, and you have 2 separate ones, if you're in the living room and you say place, she's going to opt to go to that one, right? And if you're in the bedroom and you say place, she'll opt to go to that one. And you can even teach them to go to like different places within the home simply by pointing. Like, that's really advanced stuff. Nobody can experience that. But you can definitely have more than one. You can definitely move it around, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just something that displays an area. Okay. Other questions? She's getting pretty tense.
Yeah.
She's tired. So we'll cap it there for her. Okay. If you have any questions about stuff, always feel free to email me. I know you have your Zoom set up for tomorrow.
Yeah, Zoom tomorrow is going to be with my 2 sons.
Sure.
That's their responsibility.
Yeah, no problem. So I suggest you have your sons send me a list of questions that they have. The easiest stuff like potty training, crate training, any simple.
That's the hardest thing we're having.
Yeah. And I probably have some notes. It'll be recorded and I'll put it up as well.
Okay.
But in case, you know, whatever they want to have something on hand, you know, potty training, it's simple, but there's like a lot of steps to it. We'll get that taken care of, okay? Anything else? No? Awesome. Good job. You're welcome. Break. Break.
Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.